Whitwell, Tennessee Middle School is going to Israel on C.H.I.P, Western Civilization Israel Heritage Program, is coming May 2016.
Here in Whitwell, Tennessee, I am the coordinator of the Children's Holocaust Memorial and all that goes with their Paperclips project and their Holocaust Memorial. There are lots of things that happen with our kids. This summer, we will be going with the C.H.I.P Foundation for 12 days in Israel. And there, it is my hope that we'll continue what we've been doing for the past 17 years, which is teaching children that change, goodness begins with you. It doesn't begin with the government. It doesn't begin with your parents. It doesn't begin with your friends. Change, goodness has to come from you. It's your choice. This Paperclip project grew out of a desire that our parent advisory group had to help our children understand what a really small world they live in. You know, if you live in Whitwell, Tennessee or anywhere else, you can be anywhere on this globe in 18 hours. So my actions in Whitwell, Tennessee, the actions of these children in Whitwell, Tennessee, have an impact on the larger globe. It's just really important that we all realize that every word that comes from our mouth, every action we take, has an impact on another human being. And it's up to us to make that choice to make that impact positive. You know, in 1998, we were simply looking for a vehicle that would help our children understand, number one, if we are going to live in a world where there is peace, it has to begin with us, and we have to respect other people, love other people, and accept other people. We don't have to agree with each other. I'm a firm believer that you need to have lots of dialogue, and it needs to be disagreeing with each other. But it also needs to be dialogue that brings you to compromise and brings you to understanding of each other. So we were just looking for a vehicle that would help our children understand that in the larger world, there are so many problems that need to be addressed, and that you need to be understanding of other cultures. That particular year, a group called the I Earn Foundation was having a conference in Chattanooga. Now, the I Earn Foundation links high school students with other high school students to study world problems or world things that are of interest in the world. Now, I always have this belief, age matters not. You know, it didn't matter that these kids are my middle school kids. If a high school kid could study this subject, so could my middle school kids. So I sent the assistant principal to their conference that summer, and he came back and he said, well, you know, there's a Holocaust study. And our parent advisory committee looked at that, and we said, oh, a Holocaust study. Number one, totally different culture when you look at the Jewish culture compared to our Christian culture. Number two, what better example of not speaking out or making bad choices than the actions of people during the Holocaust? What better way to teach kids what happens when you are a bystander and not an upstander? So we said, let's start a study of the Holocaust via the internet, connecting with other schools, with the resources at Yad Vashem and the National Holocaust Study Center in Washington, D.C. It will be after school, and parents or some adult in the family will have to come with them. Now, I'm a firm believer that families are first teachers, and that if you're going to teach lessons that stick with kids, parents and families need to be involved. So we started that study. We had I think that year we had 38 students. It was after school. Teachers did not get paid. Kids did not get credit. You know, people just came and studied. And And there were just amazing things that came out of that. One of our families happened to be Jehovah's Witnesses, which is, we don't have a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses around here. Most people are Baptist, Methodist, Church of Christ, Presbyterian, that kind of thing. So we began to study, and it was just amazing at the stories that the children learned about and that they shared with each other, they shared with their families, and they shared with their friends. It was a very successful first round of study. The next year, we started the study again, and we did not require parents to come that year. They could come if they wished. So we were about, 6 weeks into the study, and one of the students came to me and they said, "Ms. Hooper, I just simply don't get 6 million. I can't get my head around this." Now, I can understand that because by our last census, there are 1,720 people who live in the town limits of Whitwell, Tennessee. There are only 6.2 million people who live in the whole state of Tennessee. So to ask children to try to visualize the murders of 6 million Jewish people was beyond them. She said, "Can we collect something so we can get some sense of the enormity?" And I said, "Only if it pertains to World War II or the Holocaust in some way. We're not going to collect bottle caps or, pull tabs. It has to be something meaningful." Now, kids are very, very sharp, let me tell you. Oh, my word, they are so sharp. They go out on the internet and they discover that Joseph Failer, who's a Jewish gentleman credited with the invention of the paperclip, was also Norwegian, and that during World War II, Norwegians wore paper clips on their lapels to protest Nazi policies. Well, they were ready when they came because the kids had a letter already ready, typed up, ready to be sent out. And it basically stated that they were trying to collect a paper clip for every Jewish person who had been murdered by the Nazis. So they sent the letters out to their friends, their relatives, celebrities, their congressional people, registered with the National Holocaust Project in Washington, D.C. This wonderful, wonderful woman who was a Holocaust survivor saw their letters and their registration on the website. She calls up her friends, Peter and Dagmar Schroeder, who were correspondents for a German newspaper syndicate, and she said, "You will go to Tennessee and you will see that these children get their paper clips." Well, yes, that's all history now, So we stopped counting paper clips at 30 million. We still get paper clips. This is 2015. We started this study in 1998. We have over 30,000 letters. The letters come from survivors, they come from liberators, they come from school children, they come from Muslims, they come from all ethnic groups that you could ever want to imagine. And they tell their stories, and they tell how this particular project has impacted their lives or caused them to create some other project or study some other area of concern. It's just amazing to me. We have every year, we train these children. We have a study course. We start actually in 5th grade with our kids who start reading Holocaust literature, things like Number of the Stars, that sort of thing. And then we continue, 8th grade, we read Elie Wiesel's Night, So, and the children at the end of their 7th grade year are trained to be docents. So they lead tours every Friday during the school year for groups who come here. It is, I guess, I am thankful as an educator to be a part of something that I know will have lasting impact. These kids come back and they tell me about things that have happened to them in college or in their workplace or other places, that they were so thankful they had this background to think about respecting other people. I don't have to like what you do, but I do. I tell them all the time, if I am a Christian, and I am commanded to love you no matter. You know, that's what Christianity is all about, not judging you, but loving you. And it is our right, it is our commandment to think about this. 11 million people were murdered by the Nazis that they kept very meticulous records about. They recorded their name, they recorded the way they murdered the person, they recorded the date they murdered the person, they recorded the place of burial, all these things very meticulously recorded. What kind of humanity does that? 6 million Jewish people. 1.5 million of those were children under the age of 14. And that other 5 million people, righteous Gentiles, just people who stood up and said, this isn't right. Or they tried to hide, Jewish people from all these atrocities. People, Jehovah's Witnesses, homosexuals, gypsies, political people, people who just spoke out. And I say to kids all the time, life is a choice. Life is a choice, and you are going to choose every single day by your words, by your actions. Every single day you are choosing. Are we going to create another society where we would have a genocide like this? Or are we going to go out here and work hard and study hard and influence people and vote and get involved in our communities, do community service work, do action work, know your neighbors, know you're not just the neighbors next door to you, but your global neighbors. Know those people, care about them, and realize that every drop of water you consume, every drop of food you intake, everything you do in this life affects our whole planet, not just your planet. And that's what we're trying to teach these kids every day. It's not just a matter of teaching Holocaust lessons, which are so important, but it's a matter of teaching humanity, caring about your neighbor, truly being a Christian, truly practicing the religion of love. One of the greatest things I think that is happening right now to our students is this opportunity they have to take this trip to Israel because of the sponsorship of the C.H.I.P Foundation. This is a trip our kids never would have been able to take. I look at this C.H.I.P Foundation as another link in our paperclip network. To me, network is what life is all about. I am concerned in this day and time because people are constantly speaking with their thumbs. And I know that we all think we're highly connected now. I can check on anything through Google. But I think the important thing is to connect network to network, person to person, paperclip to paperclip. Paperclips link things together. They hold things together. I see this C.H.I.P Foundation as networking our children, holding them up, letting them understand how they are linked to people in Israel and how important the Middle East is to us and how important it is that we be linked together and that I see you as flesh and blood. That when they take this trip, they're going to Tel Aviv, they're going to Jerusalem, they're going to Jaffa, they're going to all these places. They're going to see real human beings, Israelis, Palestinians, all sorts of people, totally different culture from themselves. And they're going to make that link. It's like you took those paper clips and you put them all together and you said, whoa, we are a part of this. What happens in Israel happens to me. What happens here in Whitwell, Tennessee happens to the people in Israel. How concerned I am with my fellow man, how I express my love for my fellow man, how I stamp out hate. I just clip all that hate together and get rid of it. And C.H.I.P, I always think, this is what I thought when I first heard the term C.H.I.P, we are chipping away at ignorance. and we are linking children together in understanding.
So my last question to you is, how excited are you to lead this group?
How excited I am to go with this group. There is, okay, on a scale of 1 to 1,000,000, I'm way past that million. You know, I look at these 18 kids that are going with us and I think, whoa, what I wouldn't have given at their age to have had this kind of opportunity. You know, it's like, I just feel like we're opening Pandora's box to them, and we're taking them away from the media view of Israel and the media view of the rest of the world, and we're bringing them to the world of reality. It's like I get to be a part of a great big reality show, you know? And to see, I can't wait to see and to hear, you know, as they journal on this trip, their reactions to what Israel really is. That it's not just a country under siege. You know, everybody thinks there's a bomb falling and a stabbing and a horrible event every day, but it isn't. It's flash mobs, it's happy families, it's Shabbat, it's festivals, it's swimming in the Dead Sea, it's seeing, you know, the Mediterranean at Tel Aviv, it's, what do I say? It's kibbutz.
Please review C.H.I.P website, chipeducationaltours.org. Please sponsor C.H.I.P, and please share C.H.I.P with as many others. Thank you.